The world has had enough of thought leaders. We don't need any more thought leaders. We need heart leaders. Today we're going to talk about burnout and people who are guiding and leading others, and they're burnt out because they've got stuck in the stuff, stuck in the processes, stuck in the ways in which we believe that we think will help. What we think works. What has worked before will not work moving forward. The world doesn't need any more thought leaders. The world has enough thought leaders, and you can see the result of thought in the world. So, thank you for joining this video. Today we're going to talk about heart leadership, authenticity, and leading directly from the heart and not from the mind. And as I said, you can see the results in the world. What does thought do? Thought goes into war. Thought defends itself. Thought attacks. Thought makes itself better or worse. Thought dehumanizes. Thought can reduce a human life to something called collateral damage. Thought can make you believe yourself to be better or worse or more than another human being that has a heart, that has a soul, that has a mind, that has value. Thought can separate itself. Thought can create world wars. Thought can create division between the haves and the have-nots. Thought is not an enemy, it's not something wrong, but unbridled thought and unconscious thought and thought without presence leads to a complete disconnection from the heart and allows the world that we see now to be created. The world that sees people as commodities, the world that sees people as indispensable. This is what thought can do. And today we're going to talk about you who are watching this video. If you've pressed play on this video, you're listening to it now, it's time for you to step up as a leader. And that doesn't matter if you're just the leader of your family, you're leader in a community, or leader of a wider movement in the world. We need heart leaders to stand up now and to step out and lead with their heart and lead with truth and come away from this crazy race thought, the human race thought, these thought forms of divide and rule and conquer and separation and greed and fear and needing to get yours and having to take from someone else. The heart knows its abundance. Authenticity knows its truth without having to think it, without needing the validation of others, without needing power over others. The heart knows its abundant truth. And so if you are guiding others at this time, again, family, community, or a wider movement, if you're a thought leader, if you're a guide, a spiritual mentor, and you're guiding others and you're feeling burnt out and you're feeling lost and you're feeling like what I thought worked, what did work and what I thought would continue to work is not working, and I'm feeling burnt out, I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling exhausted, I'm feeling like there's something missing. It's because there is a call now to lead from the heart. And to truly lead from the heart, we have to be absolutely vulnerable, absolutely honest and authentic with ourselves, with our emotional responses to what appears in the world, and to see, are we thinking into being reactions that are actually fueling the fire of this thought-based world, this disconnected world that we are seeing as we record this video. It's September 2024. But whenever you watch this, you know that this world is in this continuous flux and there's huge transformation and huge turmoil, but there is also great opportunity. So if you are here to guide others, to lead others in any way, and you have been in this cycle of thinking what is right, thinking, or you've been taught systems that you were taught a year ago will not work. Systems that you were taught or that you learned pre-2020, pre-2012, pre-today Heart is always now. Thought is always based in past and future in this fleeting thing called now. It's always trying to get back to what it learned and applying it to now, or doing something now to get to a perceived future. Heart is always in the true now. In the true sense, it's a living being, it's a living transmission, like the book that we've shared, The Life of Bliss, a living transmission. It's a living transmission. It's alive now here. It doesn't refer to the past. It doesn't reach for a future. And if you're here to guide others, if you're here to guide and create true leadership and true mentorship and true guidance, we have to come from the heart. We have to be in the heart. And that is scary for nearly every being on this planet. To be truly guided from our heart and lead from our heart is one of the most challenging things. To live with an open heart in this world where everything around you is prompting you to close your heart. You turn on the TV, social media, you see the inequalities in the world, you see the challenges, you see the beautiful potentials, but you feel like you have to guide your heart. You have to hold your heart. You're going to lead someone, but you're going to lead them in a way that you think will keep you and them safe. The heart doesn't need protection. The heart is impenetrable. The heart cannot be damaged or hurt. The heart can be closed and can be opened. And if we are to lead from the heart, we have to live with an open heart. We have to live with authenticity. We have to live with courage of an open-hearted being, an open-hearted leader, someone who leads with their heart and shares with their heart, shares their art, is going to receive thought forms within the body being, within the ego sense, and from the world. Because an open-hearted being, an open-hearted leader, challenges everything in the thought-based world, challenges everything that is appearing. Not in a deliberate way, but in a way that its essence is openness, is nowness, is freedom, is love, is passion, is purpose, and thought-based leadership and thought-based reality, which the majority of people are living in. Be they leaders or be them, quote, lay people. Most people are living in their mind, living in the thought of the past, the thought of who I am and the thought of who I will be, or the thought of where I'm going, or the thought of where the world is. The heart doesn't think. The heart is. The mind thinks, plans, strategizes. The heart opens and closes to the degree that we allow it. And the heart is full of wisdom and thought is full of knowledge. And the wisdom comes through lived experience, not memory. And we have this mechanism where we want to protect the heart. And so when thought remembers a past event, when I lived in my open-hearted genius, when I was sharing my heart, maybe as a child or something, you were very excited about something, you were just in your joy, you were just in play, and something happened, you got shut down, shut up, close down, don't speak, don't be this way, this is not the right thing. So there becomes this mechanism, again, not from the heart. The heart is always open. In essence, it is openness itself, but our experience of our heart can be closed down by the mind. And we think that the heart closes on itself. The heart is the nature of openness, the nature of love. Its nature is purity. It is love. But we have these mechanisms between the mind, between the thought form and the heart, that whenever this past thing happened, it hurt. So what we're going to do, send a message from here to close down this space. So I think I need to do this to protect myself. I think that happened before 40 years ago, and that was dangerous. That was hurtful, and my heart hurt. So I'm going to protect my heart by closing down. And all it is we're putting a filter, we're putting a film over our genius, over our joy, over our perfection, and clothing it with the thought, I need to protect myself. I need to fight. I need to defend. I need to attack. I need to think of a solution. The heart is solution. The heart is every solution. The heart is solution. The heart and soul of every problem exists. The heart and soul is already existent. The solution to every problem is already existent in the heart. The solution is living and alive, and it's now here. It's a living transmission. So if you're feeling burnt out in your life and you're guiding even one other being, it might be a cat or a dog, it might be your child, it might be a team at work, it might be a wider mission, you might be guiding people through your work in the world and your service, but you're feeling burned out, you're feeling tired, you're feeling exhausted, you're feeling lost. The invitation is to look and see, are you thinking your way through this, or is the heart guiding you? Do you think that what has worked before must work again? Do you think that what was in the past and what is actually appearing now sometimes gets muddled and jumbled? The mind and thought has the ability, and the body being doesn't know the difference in a remembered imagination and a remembered fact. The body and emotions and responses within the nervous system can appear with a memory of something that's actually not now present in this now awareness, but it feels very real. You can get anxious just by hearing a song or a person's name. It can spark a memory. And if whenever we get burned out, whenever we get tired, whenever we get exhausted, we are either living in the perceived past or we're living in an imagined future. And the heart is always in this now here. The thought will always look there then or there when. So the energy of the heart and to lead from the heart never doesn't get tired. Your soul doesn't get tired. Your soul doesn't need to eat. Your soul doesn't need anything. It doesn't need your relationships. It doesn't need money. It doesn't need a career or mission or purpose. Soul is the solution. It is already complete unto itself. And its sole purpose is to give you the experience and give you the free will choices to experience the fullness of who you are in any way that you so choose. By firstly forgetting that we are the solution, the full being of all that is, yet we think, I have to do this, I have to do that. When I say we, is that mind, that false identity leads us down the path of I must do, I should do, I have to, I wish I could, I want this, I want that. Why couldn't this be different? It always wants something other than what is. And the heart simply is always what is, and it is the eternal solution. So the solution to every quote problem or challenge we have in the world is heart-centered leaders. And you may feel that you are not a leader, and you may feel that you're not here to lead others. But every day, everyone is leading by their example. Unless you are an absolute hermit and you never see any other being ever in your life, you are a leader of some form. You lead by example. You lead by how you hold yourself. You lead by how you walk, how you talk, how you are in the world, how you interact with someone in a shop you see today. If you are leading by example continuously, and we are one cell in this body called humanity, and we are called, those who are called to this heart leadership. Again, it doesn't matter if you've got people in a traditional leadership, guidance, mentor circumstance. How you are in the world is leading others. What example you give when you walk out into the shops, whatever you're doing in your work, even again, it's not a traditional leadership or mentorship role. How you are in the world leads the way. And if you're in a world where most people are solely guided by their thought, we're not saying that thought doesn't have purpose. It does. If we give it direction, it is a great servant. It is a terrible master. Thought and mind is a great servant, a terrible master. So we'll do a little experiment here. Tell your mind to say anything. Just tell your mind now to say yes, 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 no, no, no. You'll hear it. It will do it. Tell your mind to think. No, tell your mind to not think of a pink elephant with roller skates wearing a tutu. No, there's two experiments in one. Thinking about what we want and thinking about what we don't want. It doesn't know the difference. So you will probably have heard yes, 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 no, 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 and had some sort of image or recognition of a pink elephant on roller skates with a tutu. Now, stop for a moment, take 10 seconds, and don't give your mind any direction at all, and see what happens. Now, unless you are a very experienced yogi meditator, the chances are, put in the comments and let us know, the chances are when you weren't directing thought, random, could be absolutely anything thoughts just appeared. Please put in the comments and let us know if it did. If you are like a very experienced yogi and meditator, it's possible that your mind was completely empty, and that is cool. This is not for you. But if you are like most people, in 10 seconds, please put in the comments wherever you're joining. We're multi-streaming on lots of platforms here. Did that mind of yours throw some randomness in there? It could be related to what we're talking about here. It could be like something you agree with or something you didn't agree with, something that links to that. It works with association. But a lot of times it could be just absolutely anything. We'd be talking about this, and then you have a memory from 20 years ago. Think about something that you have to do later. Think about, why am I sitting watching this video? I've got better things to do. But put in the comments and let us know, did your mind produce random thoughts that you did not choose? So if it did, that shows you how most of the people live most of the time, all of the time. So you can imagine you're sat thinking about connecting to your heart, and the next thing, elephants come into your mind. Next thing is, I don't feel so good today. Oh, next thing comes, remember that guy that said that to me, or that person did that thing to me, or I wish I was somewhere else, or why am I still watching this video? It's an excellent servant. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Don't think of whatever you want. But again, we kind of got mixed in two experiments. The mind doesn't know the difference in don't, or I don't want and I do want. So that servant of the mind, that amazing servant of the mind, will serve you when you tell it what you want, what it is that you want. That's another thing. But we're also showing here that it's a terrible master. So we're just saying here, take 10 seconds and just be empty and see what happens. And just random thoughts will come. And sometimes they could be beneficial to life, but a lot of times they're total random. A lot of times they can come from trauma. A lot of times they can come from anxiety. A lot of times they can come from what I should be doing. And so if you think about that, people, mostly men, but some women, that are the supposed leaders of countries. And again, that's a on the surface, they'll call them leaders of countries. Puppets, really, but anyway, we'll call them leaders of countries. They are in positions where they can make decisions that affects huge amounts of people on this level of awareness. And they're the same as you. They might have different thoughts, but they still are led by the mind. They're still led by thoughts. What we think, we've come together, a group of minds have come together who went to some, quote, elite university, and now we've come together and we know what is best for this country, for this world. And we're going to get together and we're going to let these thoughts come up with a great idea of how we can lead this country, how we can lead these people. And there are other nuances that we can get into, but let's just stay on the surface as it looks like. And so, can you imagine how their decisions are mostly based from thoughts that they think they come up with which actually just are floating about in this infinite field of anythingness. And they can just make decisions that do affect huge amounts of people. Again, if we can only be affected truly by what we allow ourselves to be affected with, but most people are not aware of that. So most people believe that those in power have power over us, so then in fact they do. When in truth, the only power is the power of the heart, the power of love, the power of the Christ within. But again, we digress. We will not should on ourselves. Never should on yourself. We'll stay with this level, just this most obvious level of thought and heart. So these beings are mostly guided by thought, and they are actually rewarded for this thought. They're rewarded. Those who are the most intelligent, those with the highest IQ, those who are seen as the smartest, are rewarded for that. And thought is rewarded, and thought is celebrated in this world. So you can imagine those thoughts that are just randomly appearing and that are affecting large swathes of people, and they mostly are completely disconnected from their heart. And so why do we share this? We share this not so that we just say this is doom and gloom, all these powers, because they are the powers that never were. Nothing has any power save the power that we give it. Government has no power other than the power that we give it. Your boss has no power other than the power you give it. Your guide, your leader, your mentor has no power other than the power that you give them. And the mind has no power, thought has no power unless we give it power by enacting it, by following it, by believing it, by listening to it. Another little thought experiment. How many times has your mind, this mind, I don't like to personalize it because it's actually not your mind. The mind is impersonal. It just seems personal. But how many times has your mind told you something? So is a good example, like with food. Let's say there's a certain food that you don't want to eat. You don't feel good eating it, or it feels good, but you know it's not good for you. And so one minute, so you make a decision. I came up in this body came up in Ireland. They have a thing called Lent, and all these are like New Year's resolutions. Let's just say there's something your mind has said, okay, I'm going to stop eating this certain food. Just use this as an example. And the mind sets off, and you set off on day 1, 1st of January, or the first day of Lent, or whatever it is. And your mind's, yes, I'm going to stop eating this food because I don't like it. And then what happens? If it's really strong, you'll get a temptation of something. Oh, maybe just one of them will be okay. Again, this could be applied to anything. We'll just use food for example. Maybe just one of them will be okay. And then the thought that no. We've set this New Year's resolution. We're starting this Lent. No, we're going to do it. We're not going to eat it. And then it creeps in again. And maybe for the first few days or weeks or whatever, your motivation is good, and the mind is saying, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this time. And this could be hours, or this could be days or weeks. Doesn't matter. And then the mind says, go on. One won't hurt. Doesn't matter. Just have one. It'll be fine. And then it breaks you down, and it breaks you down, and it continues. And then your friend, and then you go meet your friend, and he or she wants to share this treat or whatever it happens to be with you. And eventually, that voice that was initially strong and said, I want. Again, I talked about yesterday, like going to the gym or doing anything like this, anything that's beneficial in our lives is usually challenging. And so the mind will say, go on. And then eventually you may or may not, you give in, and then you have a little bit of. Now that same mind that firstly said, okay, we're not going to do this, we're going to eat this certain thing or not eat this certain thing for the good of us. Then that same mind starts saying, you did well today. Just have one of those things, or just rest today, don't go to the gym, or just, and then you eventually do it, and then everything's forgotten. The New Year's resolution is gone, the Lent is gone, whatever the new habit or idea that you're going to do is gone. Then what does that same mind do? That same mind makes you guilty. Oh, you shouldn't have done that. I can't believe you did that. That's why we say this is impersonal. It's neurotic. It's multiple personalities. The same mind that tells you to do a thing will tell you to not do a thing. The same mind that will tell you, that told you to do a thing, that told you not to do a thing, will tell you, oh my God, I'm so guilty. Why did I do that? I'm a bad person, or I'm so weak. Or that same mind. This is the insanity of the mind, the insanity of thought, and the insanity that there are leaders that are guided by this, that have little buttons that they can press that can change the world, change this world. But they don't have power unless we give power to it. And so, again, the reason for this video is not to think doom and gloom, is to look at the insanity of mind, the futility of mind, and how it is such a terrible master, but an excellent servant. And it is really to say to you who are watching this video that whether you like it or not, and whether you know it or not, you are a leader. And if you press play on this video, the likelihood is that you are called towards this heart leadership. Again, maybe it's just how you show up in the world, how you go about your community, your family. You're being called to lead from the heart. And if you think you can and you think you can't, you're right. The heart knows. We in this world need heart leaders. We need those who are authentically leading from their heart, not from their mind, not from what they think is right, not from what thought has told them to do, not from what thought has said was good an idea one day, not good idea the next, and then makes you guilty or makes you shamed or blames someone else. That's the other thing it loves to do. It wants to blame the world or blame my ideas or blame this or that. The world is calling for authentic, courageous heart leaders. And if you are one and you don't step up to that, you are robbing the world and robbing yourself and robbing your family and robbing the next generations of a world that can be led from the heart, a world that can come from the authenticity, from the courageousness, from the willingness to be and see and feel and know the truth of who I am, not who I thought I was or who I've been told I was, who I am. The I am is from the heart, and the I am is always now, and the I am does not have fear. The heart doesn't close down from fear. Thought of fear clouds our experience of our fearless heart, of our courageous heart. And a heart leader is one who lives from this authentic self, this I am that I am. And it is totally courageous. It doesn't think, can I be this way? What will people think if I am this way? No, it doesn't think. It is. It is authenticity. It is love. It is the truth. It is now. It's always here. And the heart will naturally ebb and flow. And like we have this physical beating heart, but it will, I don't want to say open and close because it can get mixed up with the way the mind closes the heart, closes down to any possibility, it closes down when we've been hurt or traumatized, because it's a protection mechanism. If someone has been hurt and traumatized in childhood, it's an automatic response that the thought blocks our experience of the love that we are, the truth that we are, the I am that I am, because it remembers the pain of that. But the heart is truly always open. The heart is truly always as it is. And those who lead with the heart and those who are called to lead with the heart, and if you are listening to these words, you are being called to lead from the heart and be a heart leader in whatever environment, in whatever way that you are here to be that. And again, if we do not do this, what sort of world are we leaving for our children? We're leaving in the hands of, again, mostly men, but some women that are wearing suits that are led by this insanity that is literally is always their master. They may use it as a servant in some ways where they want to direct thought, but they're directing it in a ways that's completely disconnected from the heart. They are mastered by the mind. They are continuously bound by thought that they do not even choose. And on a deeper level, we could say a lot of this thought is manipulated and directed and used in a way to head humanity in a certain direction. And if there are not more heart leaders stepping up, and if there's not more heart leaders being their authentic, true, courageous self, the world in its form will continue in this self-destruct mode. Because this mind, again, that same insane mind that told you, I don't want to do something, I do want you to do it, it makes you guilty or shame or blame someone else for doing the same thing. All that one thing is what is leading most beings on the planet. And that will actually self-destruct itself. That same insane mind that has all those multiple personalities and that can actually turn it in upon itself will actually and can actually self-destruct itself. If it believes in something and it believes, it's done it, this was wrong, this is right, it will self-destruct. And that's what you're viewing in the world. That's what you're seeing in the world. One version of the world. And that version of the world that we're speaking of is through the filter of mind. You see these insanity things that have been created, the technology now where people are going into the dream within the dream, where they're wearing these, whatever they're called, these things over their eyes and they're walking around in a dream within a dream. Most beings already have those on, we just can't see them. It's the filter of the mind. It's the filter of this insane master that can be an incredible servant. So again, we have to remember, it's a terrible master, it's an incredible servant. If we direct the mind in ways that are guided by the heart, it's incredible what it can do. But if we are disconnected from our heart, or we're afraid, or we don't want to step up, or we feel like we can't step up, or we can't be a leader, we can't lead from the heart, then the mind becomes the master and the heart gets disconnected, and this becomes not even secondary, it's tertiary. It's like, because everything happens up here and everything has a logical outcome and everything is based on data and history, and this is what worked and this is what will work. And again, what kind of world are we going to live in? What kind of world are we going to live in now? What kind of world are we going to live in? Are our children going to live in, and our descendants and those who come after us? We are being called to be heart leaders. We are being called to step into that authentic heart leadership. The time of thought leadership is over, and it is self-destructing itself. And because the heart is indestructible, there's no fear in this. There's no danger in this. But the world as we know it will not continue in the way that we know it. On one side, that's a good thing. On the other side, if humanity want to continue to coexist with this incredible consciousness, Gaia consciousness, we as those who are called, and again, if you're hearing these words, you're being called to step up as a heart leader, to step out and be example, step out and be vulnerable. Vulnerability is one of the greatest strengths of the heart leader. Authenticity is just a natural gift of the heart leader. Thinking that comparing the past to a wished upon future removes us from the now, and we don't have to think that these problems are too big, because these problems only exist for that mind, and the race thought, the world is reflected, is a reflection of that mind, and it's never too big. There's no difference. There's no heart that's bigger than the other. And those that are, those beings that we were talking about that are mastered by the mind, they're not masterminds, but they are mastered by the mind, and they're the so-called leaders of countries and whatever else. Their heart is the same pristine, perfect at 3333. Pristine, perfect perfection that it is. Even if it doesn't look like it on the surface, they are already all of that, but they have forgotten and they cannot find their way from here to here. They say the longest journey that you have is from here to here in life. They cannot get out of it. They are stuck in that because that's all they've ever known. But if you're watching this video, you have connected with your heart, because you wouldn't have pressed play. You wouldn't be interested. You've touched it at times. You've touched others' hearts and others have touched your heart. And that means you're being called to be at that heart leader. Even when it's scary. It's scary for here, it's not scary for here. Even when you don't know how. There wants to know how. There already knows it is. It's already I am. And so we're being called. And I challenge you, and I challenge myself to see where am I not stepping forward as the authentic, courageous, heart-led leader, whatever circumstance I am in. whether it's with my son, it's with my wife and my family, whether it's when I just walk out in the world, or whether it's when I come onto a video like this and share. Am I sharing authentically? Am I sharing courageously? Am I sharing from the heart? Or am I sharing from what I think will sound good to someone? Am I sharing what I think people will like to hear? And when I say I, it's not, well, it's little I. It's the I that lives up there. The I that lives eternally here doesn't need to think. And if we are to become all that we are here to be, we are really being called to step into this. Every breath, every moment, every minute, every time when we are when we are tempted to let fear stop us because thought says, no, you can't do it. Thought says, who are you to be a leader? Thought says, well, I don't know how I could do that. It's not possible for me. No, I leave that from someone else. Whenever you are tempted to let that heart message, that heart wisdom be beaten down by this insane thought form that's not you, that I am that says, I am little me, I am per me, I am the one that can't do it, I am, or who am I, it inverts it, who am I to be a leader, who am I to share something? That's all in this false bubble. It's not you. It's never you. It never was you. You are the heart of being, the art of being. You are the truth that needs no convincing. The truth that doesn't need a thought to confirm itself. It doesn't need accolades. It doesn't need fame. It doesn't need a validation from another being. The heart is, and it always is, and it's always pure and perfect. The mind always wants, it always desires, it always looks to the past and the future. And the heart leader that has been called now has been called from the heart to the heart, and it's your own heart. So this is a little sharing. We got on a lot here. I have to remember what this started as because it evolved into something else. So the world does not need more thought leaders. It's very clear to see. But the world does need you, a heart leader. The world needs heart leaders to lead with their heart. Thought leadership is lost. Heart leadership is here. It's already found. So I'd love to hear in the comments. I'm just going to go check because the comments should have come through now, hopefully. I'm going to just say, hello, dear sister, Katrina, namaste. Yes, I've lived this already this morning. Of course you had. The heart speaks and sings even when the mind doesn't want to because of fear and rejection. Wow, beautiful. I'm going to put this so we can maybe see. I know on Instagram you won't be able to see those comments, but we'll work it out. I'll read the comments. And Marie, my Auntie Marie, Chia Maria, a big fat elephant came to mind. Well, we don't need to say any more about that. There we go. Perfect. That's a perfect one. Beautiful sister Agnieszka. Hello, hello. Namaste to you. Thank you. Thank you for joining on Instagram. So we're live on Kundalini Yoga Algarve, if you can't see that on Instagram. Beautiful, epic Kundalini Yoga teacher in Portugal, Agnieszka. A heart leader, and Katrina, a heart leader, and Maria, a heart leader. So if you are triggered by this, inspired by this, hopeful for this, have faith in this, have no faith in this, I'd like to hear from you. Put in the comments, let us know what you feel about this. Put in the comments, I would love to know what you feel about this thought leader versus, there is no versus, but for the thought leader there is, heart leadership. What do you think? Do you disagree with what's been shared here? Maybe disagree, which is absolutely welcomed as well. And do you see maybe this is an oversimplification, or has your mind allowed you to escape from your role as being a heart leader already? Has it talked you out of it? Has it stopped you? What Katrina said, the singing and dancing speaks The heart speaks and sings even when the mind doesn't want to because of fear and rejection. Yes. Have we allowed fear and rejection to let us, get off the hook, so to speak? We'll wait for someone else. We'll wait for a Gandhi, or we'll wait for a Martin Luther King. We'll wait for a Mother Mary. We'll wait for a Mary Magdalene. We'll wait for someone else who can lead. Social media has created a generation of followers. And what we really need is spiritual mentorship. What we really need, and that spiritual mentorship comes from your own heart. What we really need is to let go of this idea of followers and become leaders of one, leaders courageously coming from the heart and knowing that I am that I am. And I don't think that I am, I know that I am. I know I am, I am, I am, I know I am, that I am, that I am. Okay, thank you, Karen. Hello on Facebook. Thank you, thank you. So, yeah, love to hear in the comments what you feel about this heart leadership. I'd love to also know, this would help, of anyone that you feel is a heart leader and that leads from the heart that you could point me towards, because I would love to connect with them, because I am on a life mission to ignite, unite, and highlight 144,000 heart leaders on earth, living and giving their unique genius, and to impact and inspire the next 7 generations on earth. So if you can help me on that mission by introducing heart leaders, by putting your hand up if you are ready to be ignited as a leader, and if you would like to be united with other heart leaders, let me know in the comments, send me a private message, whatever it is way you would like to connect. And until next time, from my heart to yours, the divine in me sees, loves, and honors the divine in you. Namaste. We are